even at a young age, we were dabbling in merch. We were dabbling in shows. We were dabbling in being artists. You have to be able to assume all of these positions in your own career until you work it in a way where other people see fit to come along and help carry your vision. That's the only way it works. Too many artists get frustrated and burnt out because they don't have help, but you gotta help yourself and you gotta help people learn how to help you.
Artists, musicians, and creatives of all kinds. Looking for help balancing your passion to create with your everyday life? Not sure if your faith can coexist with your profession? Welcome to a place where real artists discuss real life. You're listening to The God and Gig Show. Visit godandgigs.com for show notes, links, and more information.
Hello there. It's great to be back with you for another episode of The God and Gig Show. Thank you so much for making this podcast a part of your creative journey. I know that you could have picked a million podcasts in your feed or in your player, and you decided to settle on this one. Thank you so much for that. I never take that lightly. If you are new to the show, let me tell you what this is all about and tell you why you're in the right place. This is a podcast for musicians, artists, creatives, freelancers, anyone who considers themselves an artist and who wants to build a better creative life from the inside out by applying timeless spiritual principles to the temporary creative problems that you might be facing. And we do all of that from the categories of faith, career, and relationships. My name is Alan C. Paul. I'm a musician, author, and creative coach. And it's been a pleasure to share with all of these amazing artists that we've had on the show, the interviews we've done, the people that we've been able to connect with through our clients and people who have been on our coaching programs. It's just a real blessing for me to be able to do this week after week, to really just work in the world that I believe that we can help make a difference in. I mean, when I say make a difference, I am talking about influence. I'm talking about evangelism. I'm talking about whether you're inside a church or outside a church. Every time that you connect with someone through your art, through your creativity, you make a difference. And I think it's important to remember that there's going to be a lot of noise. No matter where you're listening to this in the world, we've had so many things that have hit us, so many issues, and I've tried to be very positive and make sure that I never dwell on the negative. And I just want to give you kind of a pat on the back for a second as I do this interview. Sometimes we don't pause and say how good things are and look at the blessings and remind ourselves that God is really in control, even though it seems like everything is out of control. So I want to just remind you that you are in the right place, doing the right things. You have the right attitude. Even just listening to this show is a victory because you're deciding to fill your mind with good things and with good information and stay motivated. That's a win, no matter what you're going through or when you're listening to this. So just a little positive message I wanted to plant in your spirit there and in your mind so that you can smile a little bit wherever you are and keep going with some confidence. Speaking of confident, I'm confident that you're going to find a ton of encouragement and inspiration in this episode today with our guest, Dre Marshall. Now, Dre Marshall is an executive and manager with the production team The 30s, which is a Grammy award-winning team. They've worked with artists such as Pitbull, Nick Jonas, Nicki Minaj, Travis Scott, Charlie Puth, and they've had #1 hits and BMI awards awarded to them as a part of that team. Dre also has experience as an artist working in the Christian hip hop scene back in the early 2000s and was putting out influential work, working along artists such as Canton Jones. So he knows both sides of the industry and he has a passion for helping artists to connect the dots between the marketing strategies, the mindset, and the tools that they need to employ to make the impact that they need to make. This is going to be an incredible interview. I want you to take some notes. Dre is passionate. Dre has so many gems he's going to drop for you. You're going to come out of this listening experience more confident, more encouraged, and better equipped to use the power of partnerships to build your career the right way. Here's our talk with Dre Marshall. Dre Marshall, welcome to the God and Gig Show. How you doing, my brother?
What's up? What's up? What's up, bro, man? I'm happy to be here, man. Shout out to Gods and Gigs. What's going on?
Man, this has been, again, like a labor of love for me. And now you helped start this. I don't think you realize that, but we just talked about this. And I hope this doesn't become just a love fest where people don't know what we're talking about, where we go back years and years. But let me just quickly,
Right.
let me preface it with this, and I'll let you tell people who you are so that they can kind of get to know you and your work and your production and just who you are as an artist. But we were just talking about the fact that South Florida, we were meeting and talking, and we were part of a I guess you could call it an open mic, a Christian open mic event. Shout out to David and Trulia Thompson, our good friends who were doing a Christian event. And the reason why I love to start from here is because that event really was designed, if you remember, to help musicians who were in the church to kind of have a place to unwind and just be themselves and play maybe Christian music or secular music. But like the whole point was like, it was worship. It was whatever felt came to mind. It was supposed to be a place where we could just be ourselves. And the fact that you and your partner were there all those years ago at a little church, and we were talking about this kind of stuff. And now here you are all these years later, a Grammy nominated and winning executive, marketer, producer, creative. Man, it's just crazy how all things turn back around to right where we started, which is being artists and just making this thing work in this industry, man. So let me ask you that first question real quick. What is it like now, thinking all those years back to now? Did you ever see yourself in this position? Did you see this coming?
You know, bro, I always saw myself in this position. And for myself as an artist, I was always in this position. And for many other artists, I assumed this responsibility sometimes partially, you know what I mean, in a way, or even standing in a gap until the management showed up or until the team showed up, or helping to construct and to build their system, or, you know, taking them on tour, their first gig or their first big show or their first performance, or them seeing the reality of being an artist, or helping them to get their first check. I spent a lot of time doing that for myself in South Florida and for many other artists that are there, that are now doing great things and doing their own things, their first backup, their first performance, like all these things I was a part of in the early stages. So I think I've always been involved in conceptualizing the creative's path into making their art more than just a hobby and turning it into something that is self-sufficient or self-sustaining.
Man, you're just speaking my language, my love language when you talk like that, man. So let's take it back to that beginning that you just discussed. And the reason why, again, it was so amazing to finally get you on the show and realize that, you know, we have this connection is because you share so many of the values that God and Gigs is all about, and that I realized I need to share with more people. So just tell them who you are. Let's just do the 30-second elevator speech so that people can hear, you know, what you do, what your official title is, I guess, at your company, and how you help creatives, like the way you were just describing.
All right, dope. Well, my name is Dre Marshall. And I'm managing partner at the 30s. The 30s is a multimedia company. We run a full recording studio. We have multiple recording rooms. We also have a publishing company, and I also have a management company. And then we also have a boutique label that we've established as well, with like worldwide distribution, et cetera, et cetera. And then we also handle admin for some artists, and then we do licensing and sync work as well. So that's basically the world we live in, where we handle everything from the conceptualizing of songs and ideas to the final project of getting them registered, published, released, marketed, et cetera, et cetera.
Man, so every single thing you just mentioned, man, is just like the entire world. But whether it's music, and you just said it, it's not just music, it's creative, it's advertising, it's visual. Man, so I have to ask you, bro, because I mean, we've been, again, in our this individual circle where a lot of our friends are our mutual friends, but we never got a chance to talk. I've never heard the story of Dre. So I got to ask you to go back to the beginning, brother. Like, how did you start getting into this world? Was it middle school, high school? Did you always know you were going to be creative? What was the thing at the beginning of your life that started like steering you in this direction?
So for me, it's really probably a similar story that we hear of most people. I grew up in a family, and my family had a lot of talent. So my mom was a singer. She sung gospel music. She sung with the Edwin Hawkins chapter. She sung back up with Commission, Daryl Coley, Orlando Draper, Thomas Whitfield Community Choir, um, uh, the Thompson Community Choir. She sung with John P. Key. She toured with a group called what were they called? First Chronicles, this group from Rochester. She toured with them, and her mime group, which I never heard of mimes going on tour, but they were touring as a mime group and opening for this music group. I remember like my mom babysitting Ben Tanker's kids because she went on first, and then we had to go up to the room as a little jit, man. I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old, running around conferences. She was a worship leader, really prominent in my home city of Rochester. And so that was my upbringing in music. I was always in choir rehearsal, always in rehearsals, always in studios, always at shows. And then on the flip side, my family not being so traditional, being a first generation American, they all came from Panama. So my cousins stayed with us, my uncles stayed with us, my grandma, my mom, you know what I'm saying? And different relatives all the time. My uncle was a DJ, and my uncle was playing like all the clubs in Rochester at the time. And so I was still his CDs, I was still his records, I was still his cassette tapes, and I would listen to everything. I would listen to all the music. So when everybody was listening to, like, oh man, the boys came out, ABC, Another Bad Creation. I'm like, yeah, I got this. I heard this Najee and this Earl Klugh tape. And they're like, what is Earl Klugh? And it's like, it's a jazz guitar, But you know what I mean? Like I'm
exactly
listening
what you
to
mean.
that stuff, and it's like my cats is like, yeah, ain't nobody doper than Ninth Wonder, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, man, y'all ever heard of Vic Wooten? You know what I'm saying? And they're looking at me, and I'm like, yeah, we going to this show, we going to see Ross. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to see Billa Fleck and the Flecktones, like they perform. And so I always had a difference of taste in music because of that. And because of where I'm from, there was prominent music in Rochester. I started interning when I got a bit older. And one of the producers who was basically running the studio, he had just worked on Jodeci's project, the Show Hotel After Party. He was working with the Basement Crew with Devontae. And after all of that was happening, they were basically running the studio off of that. And me and my boy Marcellus, we were 14, interning at this legendary studio. All of these great things were just coming off the cusp of. Some of them were still happening. And we were in that environment. So I was able to see the idea of recording studios and all those things at such a young age. And wanting to be a rapper, wanting to be an artist, I couldn't rap, right? So my cousins had a group. I wanted to be a part of the group, and they were like, well, we rap, rap. And I'm like, well, yo, I write poems, you know what I'm saying? Like, these poems is fire. They still let me record my poems.
Okay.
They showed me how to help with production, but they put me in the role of a manager. So at 15 years old, I'm calling bars and clubs and churches and asking, can we come and perform? And we don't need money. We'll just sell tapes. So at that young age, we're putting our tapes together, and Cece, who was our main, like the leader of the group, my big cuz, we putting tapes together, we putting the J cards in the tape, we getting the saran wrap, taping it, and actually using blow dryers and sealing the tapes.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then we're going with 50 tapes and saying like, yo, we need to sell 50 tapes this weekend. And we had this dude who was like our big manager, Johnny. And he would have people come in and be like, yo, let me get $5. And they'll give him $5 and he'll give them the tape and be like, all right, cool, we straight. I don't owe you nothing. And so even at a young age, we were dabbling in merch. We were dabbling in shows. We were dabbling in being artists. You have to be able to assume all of these positions in your own career until you work it in a way where other people see fit to come along and help carry your vision. That's the only way it works. Too many artists get frustrated and burnt out because they don't have help. but you gotta help yourself, and you gotta help people learn how to help you.
Oh my gosh, man. You just gave an education in like 15 minutes, and the education you got, man, at 15 years old inside. Okay, so I got to unpack this a little bit because I think this is going to help a lot of people, because we are talking exactly to the audience you just addressed. The artists who are working hard, they are usually solopreneurs, right? They're unsigned, or they're musicians, side men, side women working outside of the industry. They may not be a frontline artist, but they're trying to make it work. And I don't even want to talk about, we're recording this in 2020. I don't know when people are hearing this. I pray it's after COVID has been eliminated from the face of the earth. I pray. But we're talking about the new generation, all these new circumstances that are facing artists, right? Spotify, streaming, all these things that you didn't have to deal with, but you had to learn to hustle long before any of these other things came about, right? So I guess I'll start from here. Because you became so you knew that all of these elements, both the marketing, the music, and the business side, all came to you pretty early because you had to. What would be the first thing that you think helped you to not get disillusioned, to not get burned out? Because I'm assuming that once you got into the marketing side and once you got into the business side, you started to see the negative side of this business, right? So I'm asking you, like, how did you keep from getting burned out at an early age when you started seeing all this stuff and realizing how much work it was going to take?
Well, first, foremost, honestly, I never saw it as negative. I saw it as process.
Okay.
And the reason I say that, just because I can't go under the hood of a Mercedes-Benz and fix it doesn't mean that it's negative. It just means that I don't know how to do it.
That's good.
And a part of the music business is not just being an artist, but understanding how artists achieve success. And the way that we think artists achieve success is typically wrong, because we tend to go for how it looks we tend to paint the house before we fix the house on the inside and build it up and make sure the foundation is secure. So by the time we finish our investment, we're typically burnt out because we really did invest in the wrong things instead of building on what we had. And so I think when I began to see, and the more, that was one side as a kid. When I became an artist and got older, it became extremely hard because I was focused on excelling at the creative, which made me lack on the business side. And I did handle my own business. I was making more money. Like, I see my indie friends now, and they're still making like $200 a show. Bro, I don't remember doing a show for $200 in 2008.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I can't recall it. I didn't leave my house for less than $500 at one time. And that was back in 2007, 2008. And I felt slighted then because I knew rappers that was making $3,000 on a Friday night. So to me, it was always, why are they making more money than me? Why are they getting paid? What are they doing? And there were things that I learned to do and how to do that increased my value and made my worth like way more, investing in the right things. We invest in the wrong things. And that's typically why we lose, because we get money and we blow it on things that don't matter, like how we look and how we present things. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's probably a different way to do that. And you can invest in buying a plane ticket to a market where everybody's buying your music and do a couple free shows on the weekend and get yourself a hotel. Or you could sing and do a cover, and you can hit a hotel that has a live bar and tell them, hey, I'm going to be in town performing at Boom, 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 whether you are or not, but I'll perform in your hotel a couple nights, Friday and Saturday, if you give me a free room. Here's some footage of me doing covers of top 40 songs. Just that alone will pay for you to be in a place and not have to come out of pocket for a pretty decent hotel. And you got the whole weekend to cram full of shows because no one knows you. The problem with artists that are independent and local is sometimes you get in your head that you're bigger than you are.
Wow.
And the way to determine your reality from what you think is if you cannot have a call of action put out and get the response, then you don't really have the fan base that you're looking for. So if you say, I'm doing a show here and I want my people to come, and you got 12,000 followers, but only 9 people show up, then you have to reevaluate your reality of where you're at versus where you're at in your head. And, oh, we can't wait for when the next record. And you got this pressure to put out a new record, but no one's heard your old record except the people that follow you around and your band.
I got to stop you right there because we dove in right away, man. I love you so much because I knew you were going to come with it. I knew you were going to come strong. Here's where this hits me hard, and not necessarily me personally, but I feel this for every single artist that you're talking about, because some of it, again, we're talking in love to many of our friends, right? I'm just going to be very straight up. When you said the thing about the 12,000 followers and the whole bunch of followers, but only 9 or 10, well, number one, you used a word that many of us, and I'm going to let's be very particular because I know your mind. We're going to talk very particularly because I believe this will bless people. And I believe sometimes we do the faith without works is dead thing because we don't tell them what the works are. We say, oh, have faith and pursue your dreams, but then we don't tell you how to work it. And you're talking about the specifics, right?
Yep.
So you used the word call to action.
Yes.
I know because I've been studying and listening to podcasts like this one and studying a whole bunch of people that learn these things about the business side, not just music business in general. So can you break that down a little bit? When you said something like a call to action, when you do a call to action for your fans, can you break that down? Because there are people that are listening right now that never heard that terminology, and they're going to say, well, I told my fans that I was performing, blah, 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 and they didn't respond. And they don't know like what you just referred to, like why they didn't respond or why they hadn't heard your first album or your second album or why they're not so interested in actually buying your stuff so you can make a living doing this. Can you break that down a little bit?
Well, a call to action is basically that it's a call or speaking or requesting someone to do something. I'm asking you to click on the link. I'm asking you to subscribe to my page. I'm asking you to follow me. Okay, I'm following you. How do I look at your picture? How do you get me to press the follow button? And that's how do you put up a flyer? And how can you say to the promoter, like, hey, you know what? Instead of, I want half of the door and I want 3% of the bar. And you say, well, why would you want that money on the bar? Well, I have 100 people coming. How do you know 100 people are coming? If only 9 people said I'll be there. What's the call to action that you get people to respond? How do you get people to repost? How do you get people to reshare? And this is not, and I'm not talking about this on some like, this is what you need to do. I'm really sharing with you what I think about and what I'm trying to do as well, what I'm attempting to. This is what we all need to think about. This is what Beyonce and her marketing team sit down. This is with every project. This is not what you need to do today. And this is going to solve your life. This is what you need to do with everything. Why am I posting this picture or this meme? And that is a call to action. What is this calling them to do? Why am I, instead of posting about something that's coming up music related on social media, why am I posting a personal gripe with my baby mama? Or what is that call to action? If I'm talking about politics, I'll tell you something. Sometimes I post controversial things and I'll see that I got 70 comments on something, right? I'll go down at the bottom of those comments and just post a random link to one of our songs because it's going to notify everyone. I don't care what they're talking about as long as it's not something like condolences or something like that or congratulations or something out of respect. But if I'm post something about Trump and you guys are all arguing about Trump, hey, take a break. Listen to this song.
Yes.
Why not? Because that's a call to action.
Yeah.
I'm calling you to click on this link. Every time I post a link, that's a call to action. Why don't they click on the link is the question that we have to ask. Maybe they don't like the picture. Maybe we need to engage in a different way. I'm working on a campaign for a client right now. I'm working on a campaign, and one of the things that we're doing with the marketing is we're saying, yo, everybody in the market is doing this exact same thing. Let's do something like that. Let's do that, but let's do something completely different. Let's do this. Let's do a campaign completely different, using a whole different type of aesthetic. And we're just going to do it. The hard thing is figuring out how to get these things done as an artist when you're worried about the creative. But that's where, if you got the relationship, why? If it's not aiding, it's a distraction. Then it comes, you got all these people around. Like, I see artists that have their cousins, their mamas, they got 12 people everywhere they go. And when I ask them for footage, they don't have any. Then why the hell are these people with you? Everybody's Snapchatting. No, don't Snapchat. Use my phone when I go on stage and record the performance for me. Oh, well, they messed up the first time. Great. Address them on where they, you know what, you had your hand on the camera, or you had the flash on, you should have turned it off, and let them do it again, because they're going to be there anyway. But you have to employ what you have and work with what you have, instead of griping and complaining about what you don't have.
Yeah.
Too many artists want to look like and feel like, instead of having the substance that makes them that. They look at B. Simone, they look at like Beyonce. You know, Beyonce she just dropped Black is King. It's phenomenal, right? It's amazing. But, you know, I remember when Beyonce was doing videos with just her girls, and it was home videos.
Yep. That's how it starts. And the key is that I love the fact that you're really getting right down to the place of where, you know, because I want to talk about your successes, because one thing that I really think people do miss is what you just said. We all start from somewhere. These artists that we emulate, and we want to be in that level. I'll be straight up with you as I'm talking to both, you know, you and our audience. I didn't necessarily want that. I prefer the backstage. I prefer to be the one behind. I don't want to be the artist in front, but I realize that part of the goal is what you just talked about, building the infrastructure, so that if I ever did want to go big with a project, if I ever wanted to do a destination concert and bring 500 of my people at 10,000 a pop, you know what I mean? And so I build those relationships over time, so that if I ever did want to capitalize on it, and I have built a relationship with those people, then my call to action would be effective, because they're hearing about me from an authentic place. But that being said, I want to kind of jump to where you saw this happening in your life, because you are a Grammy winner. You have a team that you've built up over time that you guys, again, I saw you, I know some of your team. I know the connection you had to build working through this over time. So can you talk about how the 30s became that team that you can rely on, and how you guys employed, you know, some of these tactics that you're talking about the other artists? You had to do the same thing to build up your production team, right?
Yeah, bro. I mean, the honest answer is I focused all my energy here.
Okay.
And I continue to focus my energy right here. It's here. It's in what I'm building. And it's in those that are in partnership with what I'm building, align with what they're building, and us building together, allowing me to put all my focus here to service those people, those clients, right? I have a client that just did a project. I'm going to send it to you, actually, because you would love it. But he remade all of these Madonna songs, completely rearranged, reproduction, all produced, live strings, live drums, live everything. Very classical voice. It's amazing jazz project. But we did some mixing for him, but a lot of it was project managing his project, start to finish, making sure the mix, the splits, the artwork, making sure that project was done for him. He's an artist that does a lot of things. He teaches at music schools. He teaches at Berkeley. He has he's his vocal coach and training for different clients. He's writing a book. He's doing all these different things. And one of his keys to success is he outsources things.
Okay.
And outsources them and pays trusted people to do the job, so that you don't say, hey, I'm going to get my homie to do my artwork, but then you got to sit with homie and do all of the artwork. Well, either you're going to be able to achieve what I need, or I'm going to have to go on Fiverr or Upwork and spend $50. And, you know, artists invest in clothes and shoes instead of in streams and plays. Like if the game is going to streams and plays, and there's ways to play to get your song playlisted and to on playlists because of the curators and all those different things, it's better to pay for that than a new outfit for a show. It's better to pay for that than buying drinks for everyone. It's better to invest in, like, man, it's $400 a month, right? Or $600 a month, or $1,000 a month, right? Whatever, $200, whatever your budget is,
right.
Man, I'm going to use that. And instead of buying $100 shoes and getting my hair done and my nails done, I'm going to spend that money and hiring a publicist. And let the publicist work for a month, and maybe the publicist working for that month should generate more income and more visibility, and maybe you can hire them on for next month. Or maybe you can keep what they're doing going until you can hire them again. These are where we don't spend our money. We're too busy with the aesthetic. Like, there's artists, right? Let me say this, bro. We know people, right, that when they walk in the room, it's just like there's something dope about them. There's something special about them. But they're cool, they're chill. But we know that, like, we vibe with them heavy, right?
Yep.
Now, what's happened is and sometimes it's even that aura or that respect of like, whoa, oh, they about to kill. Like, it's just an honor or something about that person, right? Now, instead of having the songs and the vibe and the energy and the skill set and working hard and the substance of that person, many artists just try to create that energy, and it's not real. It's not solidifiable. And that's why people don't really respect it. You want to look like, oh, you come in with a crew of people, and yeah, but you got a bunch of people with you, but ain't nothing getting done.
Yeah. And so it's so sad that this is, again, in this generation, and I'm talking about, again, post whatever, pre-COVID, whatever, the fact that now so much of this is now digital. The entire world is now where it used to be, like what you guys were doing back in Rochester. You were walking in, you're selling the tapes, you had the mixtape, you had out the trunk of your car, whatever you had to do. But it was based on those connections and those relationships so that you built your authentic brand. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right? Like, you had an authentic relationship with your audience and with your clients. So much of this is now based supposedly on this, image that you have to present. But to me, it's still based on the relationship. You have to know who you're talking to, why they want to know who you are, and you have to have something on the back end that they want, that you can offer them.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I've connected with more people post-COVID than pre-COVID that are of quite tremendous value.
Okay.
I've gotten deals done. I've spent more time researching and reading and studying, being a part of focus groups, being a part of I'm an ambassador for the Mayor's Equity Initiative, like being a part of political things and being a part of community things, being at drives and like protests, and being able to be a part of orchestrating things like that, and being a part of helping things like that, as well as doing deals and meeting people and reaching out to writers and other music business people, and sitting in webinars and becoming a part of communities and doing those different things. Like, the problem is that we focus on the problem. We spend so much time unpackaging the problem. Listen, we're in a cult where whatever you did pre-COVID, it doesn't work right now. We don't know when shows are gonna pick up.
Right.
We don't know when you're gonna see a venue with 5,000 people packed in together with their hands in the air, yelling and screaming. Like, but I do know that Dave Chappelle tried something outside with a couple seats. I know that Jim Gaffigan is doing something at the Amway Center. I know that there are things that we can begin to try to do, right? I saw my little homie Trinino, he's a trumpet player, and he got a 5-piece band, and they set up outside at the park like every 2 weeks, and they just gig, and it's outside open air. And, you know, the only thing that he's missing, and this is, again, and I'm going to tell him this, I'm telling y'all first, you should be capturing the footage of this, and within 24 to 48 hours, showing people what you're doing so that there does be an interest to a call to action. Like, oh, damn, how many times you say, oh, yo, so-and-so performing tomorrow, I'm going to that, because you missed it last Wednesday. Yep. But the problem is, after last Wednesday, it's going to be like 6 Wednesdays from then. And you had no clue that it was going to be 6 Wednesdays because you stopped showing up because only 2 people came. Well, you have to count the cost that business succeeds not only when numbers are booming, but when numbers are tanking.
Wow. Yeah.
You have to,
yeah, man.
If you got paid $500, you got to consider, man, I got paid $250 because we doing this next week. And everybody, yo, like this month, everybody, you know what? Everybody else cutting back on budgets. So we can't stop doing shows because I can't pay you what you're worth. You got to take a pay cut. But we still got to continue to do it. I saw, and my wife was saying, like, man, somebody should do, like, you know, TikToks or videos or stuff and put them together. And then I saw my boy do a TikTok campaign, and everybody's doing TikTok campaigns. But then I just saw Chloe and Haley have, it looked like a Zoom video where like 9 different dancers were doing all of the same choreography in their own space, in their own home or wherever.
Right.
And they sync the videos together. And I'm like, to me, that's incredible. Like, we have to be thinking about, I'm only thinking about what works now. I don't care about like all of the information I have because it may not work now. The labels are trying to figure out what works now. Because touring was where a lot of money came in for artists.
Yep.
But we have to realize that only 687 artists are signed to a major deal, which means that there's a lot of independent artists that are at least self-sustaining or paying some of their bills or taking care of their family. And some artists are doing that where, you know, they're actors and they make a big deal on acting, but they play every Wednesday night at some bar in LA. But they got projects out, or like, what's his name? Jack Black. Like, he has a whole band. They do, but there's a season when he's doing movies and there's a time when he's doing music. But there's a consistency that happens for Tenacious D outside of like, man, when we're not performing, we're doing visuals. Like, we release music on SoundCloud, we release music on YouTube, and you got to put money behind your stuff to market it. Even if it's a $10 ad, make sure the ad looks good. Make sure that you boost your posts. You have to invest in yourself. If you got $20, $20 goes a long way. If you get 2 new followers because you put $20 to boost your post on Instagram, that's a great investment. Do what you can. Do what we can, not wait till we make the big move that we want to make. Like, B. Simone was making regular videos on her phone before she got the light. Then she got the big light and she started making better videos. Then she got a better camera, and then she got someone to do it, and then she got the camera team. Like, you have to grow. And if you're not able to grow because you don't feel like you can start until you can start at a certain level, you're never gonna get there. You gotta get out in the water and you gotta doggy paddle before you learn to swim. It's impossible to just learn how to backstroke. It's impossible.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm inspired right now, man. You just lit a fire into me, even with all this that I know, again, that's worked in my career and you know, the building that you just talked about. It's so true. Those lessons never change. I'm so glad you talked about the post-COVID, pre-COVID not really mattering, man. To me, these are concepts that are timeless. And if you people are consistent, and the people that you see that are, you know, again, maybe even not even household names, but they're doing the same thing. They're consistent. I want to ask you real quick, man, because we've talked so much about, you shared so much, like you've done like a seminar. I feel like I definitely should charge people to listen to this podcast because you've given so much wisdom and so much value. But I do want to ask you about you personally. What was I love to ask this for everybody that's on the podcast. What was your mountaintop? You got to pick one. If you had to pick one, which I know you could probably pick, you know, several. What would be the mountaintop moment for you? The one that you're like, I can't believe we made it here, or I can't believe we've achieved this with all the work you've done. And then I want to be on the flip side. what was the valley moment that was like, man, I feel like quitting? Like, I think every artist needs to hear someone like you who has all this passion. They need to know that you made it to a mountaintop, and they also need to know how you survived the valley where you didn't really want to do this anymore. Is there ever a moment like that? So give me one of each. It doesn't have to be the only one, but give me one mountaintop and then one valley that like you had to like push through. We'll get back to more discussion with Dre in just one moment. But I wanted to take a moment to tell you about one of my favorite tools in the world for doing exactly what we're talking about, reaching audiences, making an impact, becoming a more self-sufficient creative, and that's using ConvertKit. ConvertKit is more than just an email service provider. It is our email customer service management system that we've used for years to not only coordinate our email list, but also build landing pages, to sell products, to create commerce pages, e-commerce pages. It's really become a one-stop shop for anything you need to reach your audience, to make an impact, and to make a living online. And why I think this is so important that I tell you about this now is because more than ever, you cannot rely on social media. You can't rely on simply word of mouth. You've got to have a connection with your audience to be able to reach them, to tell them what's going on in your world, and to be able to let them respond to you, and to be able to tell you what is next in your product line. Maybe they've got ideas, but if you're not connecting with them regularly through an email list and through sharing your products, you're not going to get the information you need. So I highly, highly recommend you go to godandgigs.com/ConvertKit, godandgigs.com/ConvertKit. You can check out their free plan where you can reach up to 1,000 subscribers on your email list. And there are workshops, by the way, where they show you how to get your first 1,000 subscribers. But even if you already have a list, they make converting to their system very easy. Their templates are extremely well thought out. They're easy to follow, easy to build. So there's no technical overwhelm if you're new to email marketing. I'm telling you, this is a game changer when it comes to your creative business, to your music career. Whatever you're doing, you need these tools. And ConvertKit is there to help you make a living doing what you love online. So check it out, godandgigs.com/ConvertKit. Now let's get back to our talk with Dre.
I can tell you some really dope stories. I'll tell you the best thing to me. The right now, I just finished producing and executive producing my wife's upcoming project. Her name is Mahogany Jones. She's amazing talent. She's an amazing creator and creative. She's a hip hop educator and U.S. ambassador for music. She's one of the dopest MCs I know, and she's probably the dopest female MC that I've ever heard in my life. So that's my, like, working on her project and like hearing what she's doing right now has been like the mountaintop for me. And also just the team that I have right now and that I'm working with, I feel like I'm really blessed. Like, Gabby is the most talented vocalist that I've ever heard in my life. You know, she's amazing. Manny's the best engineer that I've had an opportunity to work with. He's so freaking talented. Jimmy Ali, incredible producer, man. Like, he's not only one of the most talented and utility partners with the team because he does graphic design and he does visual designs and different things like that. But he's also one of the dopest producers on the team, and he's the most improved. I've seen the most growth in him than anybody else on the team. And needless to say, my business partner, Brayon Isaac, is and has always been, if you know me, he's always been the best. Like, if you know me, and like, people wonder how I could speak about him, how I do, and it's because I've been saying this since 2000. I've been saying, like, this ain't a rehearsal. I don't have to debate and argue. I could pull out any genre of song where it's the best, it's the most amazing. And so this is the mountaintop for me right now, is the team that I have. Like, Brian has won the Grammy and been Grammy nominated 3 other times, and 5-time BMI songwriter, pop songwriter of the year, like a black man writing like pop songs, like 5 years in a row. You know, I've had big syncs and success with him, and being able to sit in rooms with him before I was manager, being able to sit in rooms carrying laptops and carrying cell phones, and just making sure that I drove us where we were going, or running to get food, which I still do now for anyone on my team. But that's what got me on. That's what got me. That was the climb. That was the road out the valley, was serving and working with someone who was as talented, if not more, and working with them and using my talent, not in just the capacity where I was great at, but also seeing where there was a need for a skill that I could be as great at, and utilizing that with them when it was an investment. When it didn't, I don't work for money. I get paid because I do great work. But
wow, please rewind that. I'm sorry. Please rewind that.
Yeah, well, I said I don't work for money. I get paid because I do great work. That's
tweetable right there, everyone. I will go ahead. Just please make sure you put at Dre Marshall. Do not try to steal that as your own. It is here now on this recording. We know who said it. I'm telling you, man, that is absolutely one of the most profound statements, because what you're talking about right now with your partnership with someone like that, who, you know, again, the mountaintop to me, I love the fact that you equated it to your family and your team.
Yeah, man.
It was not, because I kind of was fishing a little bit. I wanted you to talk about the syncs. I wanted you to talk about, you know, being on multi-million-dollar movies. But you talked about the most important part.
Well, let me say this. And everything that's done was with them. So I am talking about it. And I didn't even mention like Kaida, who's an amazing producer that's on the team and does amazing, like he's nuts. Like he pushes everybody, like his sound, his sonic, the vibe, like he pushes the whole team. Like he's really, really dope. And he's a part of the team, and it's a conglomerate of a team. And then we got people that we outsource to. We got partners like Rich and Rugged that we work with. They make sure we look fresh all the time. You got companies that have shot videos for us, and people that have saw the quality of what we're doing and say, yo, man, we want to work with you to get our visibility on your product. Man, we want to design this because we want to work together. We want to put our logo on your video, so we'll shoot the video, because all the people that see that, we want to know that we work with this talent. And it's like, man, sometimes the only thing we could provide is like, yo, you can use my studio to shoot a video, and you don't have to pay, and you're going to shoot a video for one of my artists, and we don't have to pay. And a lot of success is not always about what you're good at. It's also about what you have use of, and not using people for dumb things. Like you said, when you make that call to action to say, yo, I need someone to do XYZ, you want people to respond because they know that when you responded to that call, that it was a dope situation. Like, no, if you give a call to action to come to a show and it starts 2 hours late, am I ever coming back? It's not your fault, but it is your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, well, what did you do? I'll tell you what. I went to a show with my boy in LA, and right before the show started, like three strings popped. So you know that's not even like pop, 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 like the most weirdest thing ever. While he's sound checking, no guitar strings, Guitar Center's closed, and traffic is crazy, and we're like already like 20 minutes. So it's about an hour and a half in LA time going back to get there and get back. He bought drinks, like 3 rounds of drinks for everyone that was there. And he sung like he was just like vibing with piano and stuff like that. He got on stage 30 minutes late, but by the time he got on stage, those people were like kind of tipsy already, because he had bought everyone a round of drinks, And it was like, cool. Now it's like, man, we getting close. You close? Yeah, I'm like 5 minutes away. He buys everybody around the drinks. By the time he got his guitar done and tuned and all that stuff, 30 minutes behind, everybody was a little tipsy because they were already buying their own drinks. But by the time he got on stage and got to performing by the, you know, the opening acts and all that stuff, they was warmed up. And it's like, because we're too stuck on being perfectionists, like everything has to be da-da-da. So when the show ain't moving in the right way, we getting the energy of who's late and what's wrong and what's this and the sound ain't right. Instead of saying, yo, the speakers sound bad, I'm going to stand over here. Oh, the mic sound like that? Yo, let me understand how to tell you to take some of the monitor down and put more in the house than if I'm feeding back. And we're so busy with problems instead of helping the people around us learn how to troubleshoot for us. So anytime I used to go perform anywhere, I always had someone that was around the soundboard. Because that's what I want. I don't care about your sound guy. I respect what he does, but if it's hindering what I'm doing and me giving my best foot forward, I need to have someone there that can communicate, like, excuse me, could you push Dre's mic up a bit? You know, but I also took time to make sure that I had performance tracks that when I know I run out of breath, it had vocals in it. Like we need to do what we can do in this time and in any other time and do what we can and be great at what we can do versus like being bad at everything or being bad at so many things that it overshadows what we're good at.
Yeah. I love it, man. The fact that the strengths that you just expressed, and this is where I always turn these conversations when I hear it, man, the fact that these are people skills. I hear so much in terms of not just people skills. Let me turn that around a little bit. To be able to be a self-assured self-manager, to be able to know, be confident and secure in yourself, to know, like that gentleman you were just talking about, that, okay, did the strings pop? Yes. But do I still have the ability and the responsibility to make this night as good as possible for the people who took time and paid money to come see me? He didn't, and you haven't. And all the things you just talked about, let the circumstances determine how you're going to approach it. You kept the control. And that's so important for artists, that we are emotional creatures. And I think some of the people that we're thinking about that do lose it, forget that you still have control, you still have responsibility, and you still have the ability to help things and make things go better, look at it positively instead of negatively.
I got my bro, man, and he plays guitar, and he says that his guitar is a gimmick. It's not who he is. He can sing. You know what I'm saying? And he's dope. And his guitar is his gimmick. So he takes pictures with his guitar, and when he's out in the lobby signing product, he takes pictures with his guitars and he says like, yo, man, my guitar it's my gimmick. It's a gimmick. So although the guitar is a prop and a piece of what he does and his main instrument, he doesn't allow that to dictate his success or his failure because you're never going to have a perfect show. You can have as close to as dope as a show as you can. Like everybody can come on time and people still gonna miss notes.
Yep.
Right? But if you miss the note and, you know, listen, bro, if I gotta be somewhere at a certain time and my homie's driving and I know that if he missed the exit, I know he gonna get me there on time. If I say, yo, you missed the exit, bro, or he say, oh, my bad. Or he might say, yo, I'm going the other way because there's less traffic that way. But if I got to get in a full on, yo, you missed the exit, man. What are you doing? I shouldn't. Why am I riding with that person?
Yeah.
Why am I putting myself? It's better that I figure out another way to go or drive myself. You understand what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
We live in a society of frustration over excuses versus maximizing what we have. And that is the game, man. It don't matter if you got all the, I know cats that get all the gear and they start producing worse. They get all the plugins and all the sounds and they start producing worse. And because you got to use what you have and be great with what you have. And if you can improve it and you have a better option or better opportunity, by all means, utilize it. You know what I'm saying? But we make too many excuses. You know what I'm saying? And the more excuses that we make, because it's gonna be hard, and you're gonna have to get odd jobs. And there was times when I was doing music and traveling to the Bahamas and Mexico, and I was delivering mattresses on Monday and Tuesday. And so what? And there was times when I was doing 2,000, members on a Sunday, and I was at a call center on Monday. But once I learned, like, oh, wow, I got paid this much for a 2,000 seater, then I need to do 3 of these a month, and I won't have to go to the call center. If I sell this many pieces of merch, and instead of selling, I used to, bro, if you know anything about some of my peers, and Leon, and one of the things that I learned about merch was having multiple pieces of merch. And so it's like, yo, 1 CD is $15. 2 CDs is $20. You know why? Because people don't like getting change back. Another thing that people feel like is, if you give me back a 10 versus 10 ones, I feel like the 10 is more money psychologically. So when people do things like charge $7 and give me back 3 ones, people don't like that. You see what I'm saying? People never like that. But now we in the era of Cash App and
right.
Square, and you can use Eventbrite and all those different things. But the idea is how to make yourself marketable and how to make yourself come back. People think that they know, that everybody know them because they do the same shows like every week. If you go into the same places and you're not seeing new faces and you always in the same venues, it's good to get paid for that venue. You might have to go to another venue. You might need to do once or twice at that venue and not 4 times. And, because you're putting the demand on yourself, if you're being seen by the same people, you're putting the demand on yourself to recreate yourself all of these times so you look different. When most artists wear the same thing similar for 3 nights in a row. Only thing they changed was their T-shirt. They had on the same shoes and jeans for 3 nights.
Right.
For 3 different shows, because I was in 3 different cities. Who cares?
Yeah. I just thought about, and we got to start wrapping up. This is so good, man. We got to do the part 2 of this because I got to
We
get
can do it.
For sure. I want to just piggyback on what you just said. One of the things about seeing the artist, thinking, and this happens to me, and I'll be the person to put myself on the hot seat. I know even as myself, I worry because I know I need new photos, or I think I need to do this. And just like you talked about, I feel like I got to invest in certain things and maybe it's not as important. But what I realize is that sometimes I get all in my head about, oh, well, they saw this picture before. Oh, they saw me. And then I thought, wait a minute, McDonald's is on every corner. Starbucks is on every corner. They are advertising the same thing over and over again. Yes.
Do you know anybody? Do you know anyone with the iPhone X?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you have pictures?
Yep, there you go. Yeah,
I'm just saying. I feel you though.
I knew you were going to come, and I'm glad you did. I'm glad I could be the person to say exactly that.
You haven't done any shows. You haven't done any shows for people, and they've had pictures there. They've had somebody doing pictures.
And I have, but I've been using some of the same ones for a long time. And I know, again, just what you said, it's because I'm in my own way. It's not because I don't have the opportunity. It's not because I don't have tons of people, exactly like you talked about, who are in my circle. My very own daughter, who's an incredible photographer. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's me. I'm not blaming everybody else. Trust me. That's the one thing I heard when you said it. I knew you were talking to me too. Because there are artists that don't realize what's it, because we look at the negative, that we get in our own head, and then we don't take opportunities where they're. Let me
tell you a quick current story.
Sure.
I was trying to get photos done at the studio because we have 3 beautiful rooms. We got dope offices. And I wanted to get pictures, so I was using my iPhone. And then my wife, when we got married, she's like, "Oh, I got a camera." So then I used her camera twice to take pictures. And the pictures were dope. And in showing 2 photographers the pictures, they was like, "These are cool. Let me come take pictures, because those ain't really hitting." And they wanted to come in, and they came in and did shoots because they wanted to give us a certain aesthetic. not to get us to give them a check, to show them what we could be getting if we were paying.
Yeah.
So they came in and did a whole shoot, 3-hour shoots, and they're gonna use those to cross market, because a lot of people don't get to shoot in studios and do different things like that. We have to give people what's worthwhile also to build their vision and portfolio too. Like, you can't get the videographer and then not let them shoot the video that they want to shoot, especially if you're not paying.
Yep.
And if it's not a dope video, I mean, don't use it, or use it because everybody needs content, right? And it's just, like I said, bro, we don't work how we should. And one of the things that helps me, bro, is, and I'll tell you, since we've been doing this, I've had four ideas. All 4 of those ideas went into a notepad. I had 3 things that I wanted to say about on this call, and there was only one that I haven't said, right? I've been writing those down. Eventually, I'm gonna put those in a document and maintain those things or those ideas. If I think about a cool idea, I voice memo it. I came up with a cool melody, but I'm installing Keyscape next door, so it takes forever. So I have a melody that I want to do and produce, and I did a voice memo. We work, instead of capturing the little bits, we try to clean the whole house at the same time. Mm-hmm. Just clean the bathroom. Just the serotonin that's released from the accomplishment of cleaning the bathroom will actually motivate you and encourage you to neaten up the living room. And that'll give you a moment to say, dang, let me clean up the kitchen. But what happens is we get discouraged because every day we walk in, it's like, man, everything needs to be clean. The kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yep, and just
start somewhere. Start somewhere and keep that area clean and be consistent until you get to the next place. And that's how I work, bro. I don't try to do everything at once. I do what I can, when I can, as much as I can, because I care more about my family than about being successful. So if I got to go home and chill with my wife, I may not be able to put the whole document together, but I have 50 emails in draft. All 50 of those are going to go out by the end of the week. But if all I did was put your name in it, I need to email Paul about such and such. I need to hit Johnny about these pictures today. Cool. I got notes, calendars, Trello, voice memos, email reminders, Apple iPhone reminders, because this is my business, and every other business in the whole world does the same exact thing. And if you don't have logistics and reminders and memos, that's why you don't need all those people around, because you got too much to do. And if you can't get all of those things done, because whether you got a job or not, they still have to get done. Whether you got a husband and wife and kids, or boyfriend, girlfriend, hobby, you like working out, swimming, those things still have to get done. If you're not going to break your idea of work to say, yo, in the middle of a rep at the gym, I have an idea for a visual. Let me just type out in a note the visual idea and keep going and work out and finish your workout. Oh, I got a baseline. Boom, 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 boom. In your voice memo, and save that baseline. You'll have thousands of gems, and you'll never have nothing to work on, never have nothing creative. Oh, I got a little melody I thought was cool. Cool. Sing the melody, put the lyrics to it later. But we're too in our own way, like you said, because we make too many excuses to go harder.
Wow, man. Okay, I'm going to have to look. I'm not going to let you go any further, because after this, like I said, we will have to charge, because you absolutely have dropped so many gems, man. I am so blessed, as you have everything I knew you would share, and I'm glad you got to all those things. If you have any more written down on that notepad, save it. We're going to make sure to come back to this. Let me quickly ask you, man, tell people how they can follow you. I know we do this all the time, and it seems like silly, but some people don't write things down. They might be traveling, they might be listening to iPods, and they might just be on their phone. So just tell them quickly how they can follow you, follow the 30s, how to stay in touch with you. And then when we do a part 2, they will be hopefully on my email list. They will already be following God and Gigs, and they will already be able to be following, this podcast, so that they can hear you next time you come on, man. But let them know how they can follow you.
For sure, bro. Follow me on Instagram at Dre Marshall, Twitter at Dre Marshall, Facebook at Dre Marshall, anywhere Dre Marshall, DreMarshall. follow the 30s at the 30s or www.the30s.co. So just hit me up, and you'll see everything and everyone I'm connected to. Follow me, Dre Marshall. Yeah.
Man, this has been unbelievable, brother. Thank you so much for doing this. And again, I'm not kidding about that part too. We may have to do, I don't know if we're going to record it now or in another day, but we need to get more of this out to more people, man. You have blessed so many people, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, let's definitely do a part 2 like this week, next week. Let's do it let's do it this week.
Let's do it for sure. All right, man. God bless.
Yo.
Well, I told you there was going to be a ton of information in that interview, and I hope you found it and heard it and took lots of notes. As you heard Dre explain, you can really take control of your career by simply applying some techniques, some strategies, and the right mindset toward partnerships, relationships, and the strategies that you can employ today, even as a solo artist or solo creative, and continue to build out that team that's going to help you reach the people you are called to reach. So make sure you tap on all of Dre's links and information so you can follow him and what the 30s are doing and continue to be inspired and encouraged and taught and educated by that group and by Dre Marshall's materials. I also encourage you to stay connected with us. Many of the tools that he mentioned, the marketing things, are in our toolkit, godandgigs.com/toolkit. There's social media tools, email tools, live streaming tools, all kinds of things that will help you build your platform. And we tried to make it very easy for you by putting them all in one place. So I highly encourage you to check that out as well, because it will also help you to build your audience and to build your impact confidently and to know what you're doing next, how to do it, and why you want to do it. So that's our show for today. Please make sure you subscribe and review. We've got tons of new material and new episodes and interviews coming up. So you're not going to want to miss an episode. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already on whatever app you're using. Tap that button. And please make sure you review the show, because every review, number one, helps us to serve you better. And number two, helps other creators just like you to find this material or find this podcast. It's just so desperately needed. We need more encouragement. We need more people like you to feel like they can make it in this crazy season of entrepreneurship and entertainment and art and creating in this space. It's just something where we need all the help we can get. And your reviews help us to reach more people like you. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week in the next episode. Until then, take care, be safe, and have a great week.
Thanks for joining us here at the God and Gigs Show. Please leave us a review on iTunes, like our Facebook page, or visit godandgigs.com and tell us what you thought of this show. We'll be back soon. In the meantime, go create something amazing.